All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. It is Monday, March 1st. Big anniversary today in rock and roll. I don't think I have, I don't know if I have what it takes to do a whole episode about this. We could do a long episode about this. We're talking Black Sabbath debut album length, but I'm not going to do that to you today. I'm going to try to make this as short and sweet as possible given the topic. We are going, well, here we are, first of all, against the Floyd wall over here, so we must be talking about something to do with Pink Floyd, right? This part of the cave, one of my favorite parts of the cave here. We are talking, today is the anniversary, March 1st, 1973. Pink Floyd put out their 8th studio album, Dark Side of the Moon. Pretty much everyone on the planet knows Dark Side of the Moon, seems like it, right? This album, anyone who's a music fan pretty much knows a little bit about the story of this record. At least they have some idea about just how big and important this record was. There may be some of you out there who don't know that, so I'll try to review it, but some of you have heard this story ad nauseum, so let's talk about it a little bit. Again, 8th studio album, recorded at Abbey Road Studios. Alan Parsons, yes, of Alan Parsons Project. He was the major producer there. This was the first album entirely written, the lyrics written by Roger Waters. It went on to sell over 45 million copies. They must be close to 50 million copies by now, which means 1 of every 14 people under the age of, 55 or something like that, have either owned a copy or have had a copy of it. That's how big this is. Some people might even remember that there's a little story here about the weeks on the charts. Yes, it spent a total of 957 weeks and counting on the charts. That's something like 18 years, by the way. It also set the record for most consecutive weeks. It was on the Billboard 200 consecutively from 1973 to 1988, 736 weeks. I don't know what happened in 1988, but I don't know. Somehow I'm pretty sure Milli Vanilli is to blame. That sounds about right. Okay, so again, this is a concept album dealing with all kinds of things. The mental health of Syd Barrett to the trials and tribulations of being famous. I mean, you name it, it's all there. Stuff that they would cover on later albums, of course. They did that with Animals. They did that with Wish You Were Here. They did that with The Wall. All concepts, and it starts here with Roger Waters on this record. It is universally acclaimed. The critics loved it. People loved it. I mean, pretty much everyone loved this record. I remember hearing Money for the first time, and first of all, the sound of the cash drawers in the beginning, and then just the ding 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 ding. I was hooked. I mean, I was in I must have been in 8th grade or something, and I was like nothing I'd ever heard before, and I was just like, wow, that's a record. And to this day, when I play that song Money, it's, again, not necessarily a traditional Pink Floyd song, but what a song that is. It's pretty awesome, right? What else do we know about this record? It was briefly titled Eclipse because it was always going to be called Dark Side of the Moon, but some band out of England called Medicine Head in the year before, 1972, put out an album called Dark Side of the Moon. They were really PO'd, Pink Floyd were, but this band's album sunk to the bottom and didn't do anything, so they were able to keep that title. All of the songs on this record were played at one point or another or in bunches for a full year live before they put it on a record. How about that? People that went to their shows were hearing all these songs for a year. So, I mean, that's pretty crazy. On the Run is the biggest track that changed the most when it went into the studio as far as effects and recording. That one changed a lot versus the live one. Paul McCartney was involved briefly, only for a minute with this, in that they did do a lot of recording of people that were in and around Abbey Studios. They used snippets of their voices in between songs, and they recorded him in an interview, and they were going to include that as one of the voices you heard in there. but apparently he was just being too funny or too comical for them and didn't use the footage. Last but not least, a fun fact. They were so wealthy with all this money, and they were big fans of Monty Python, and Monty Python were struggling to get the funds together to make that movie, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and Pink Floyd chipped in 10% of the cost to help them get over the hump and get that movie made. Also, fun trivia fact, or just pop culture fact, who remembers Dark Side of the Rainbow? Someone either figured out or just did this, who knows, but we'll put a link below. But who remembers that if you queued up the movie The Wizard of Oz, and right when the lion roared, I think the third time at the beginning of the movie, and then you started playing this album, the first however long sequence would kind of jive together. Dorothy would be running and the line would be, "No one told you when to run." She's walking on the fence and the line is balanced on the biggest wave, and breathe. And of course, as soon as the house hits and she opens the door to see from black and white to color, you hear cha-ching and the sound of money, and money kicks in. However, that was, whoever figured that out or whoever did that had a lot of time on their hands, but that was pretty fun when that happened. Okay, the songs on this record, let's get to it. Speak to Me, Breathe, On the Run, Time, The Great Big in the Sky, Great Gig in the Sky, sorry. That song, I'm so excited about that song, I can't even say it. Of course, when that song gets sung, the voices, I mean, the high notes on that and the singers on that one, I mean, even when Roger Waters does that live with his backup singers, it is a show stopper. I mean, that is insane. Flip the record over, Money. I mean, I already talked about Money, awesome song. Us and Them, of course, Any Color You Like, Brain Damage, Eclipse. I mean, come on, how do you pick a favorite song on this record? This record is epic, 43 minutes and 10 seconds of just sheer perfection. If you don't love this record, I don't know, break it out today and listen to it from beginning to end. If you haven't listened to it in a while, listen to it. We're at 7.5 minutes. I mean, you know, it speaks for itself. It literally does. This album is so good. I cannot do it justice in this video. I want to hear you talk about it today. Come on, people, post below. Tell me your stories about Dark Side of the Moon. There's a lot out there, I know. Come on, tell me what you got. Song of the day? I don't know. How do you pick a favorite song on this record? It's really hard to do. I mean, it'd be easy to pick Money, but it's not for me. I'm going to go with Breathe. I just love the song Breathe. I just love that song. So that's your song of the day. Enjoy Dark Side of the Moon today. Happy anniversary to one of the best records in rock and roll history. What a way to start off on Monday with a work week like this. Great way to start out. I don't know if I can top it this week, but stay tuned. Enjoy it. Have a great day. And as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.